Well, welcome back. John with the Primal Handyman channel. Today I'm working on this Kubota skid steer, and the problem is it sets a code 9302. If you Google it, it comes back as a fuel pressure problem. In other words, there's not enough fuel pressure to the high pressure fuel pump, the common rail pump that supplies the injectors with fuel. So the low pressure fuel pump, the sock in the tank, the fuel filters, sucking air, something else is wrong. So I'll show you what I did so far to try to diagnose it. Obviously, if I drive it just to the end of my driveway and just a little ways past, it gets a little smoother out there and I can go wide open for a short distance, it sets that code, and you got to turn the engine off and restart the machine, then you can drive it again. And if you drive it slow, it's okay. But if you go wide open, like if you were going to push material, dig, whatever with the skid steer, make it work as it was intended, it just peters out. Let me go ahead and get the camera. I'll turn it around and I'll point it in kind of in what I've done so far. Okay, it's a 97.2 model skid steer, Kubota. Great big old thing, awesome machine. Anyway, what I did so far is I took the fuel line off right here where my thumb is and blew back, took the fuel cap off and blew back into the tank and made sure the sock wasn't stopped up. That didn't help. So I bypassed this water separator just temporarily. I just took the fuel lines off of it and put, I don't know if the camera's getting this, I put a piece of tubing basically in between and went and redrove the machine, and it ran fine. So I know the problem's right here in this thing. So I guess the next step is to pull that thing off the machine. And what I've read is these T's right here, which when I get it off, I'll turn the camera back on, they get stopped up inside and fuel can't flow through them. So maybe I'll go ahead and pull those off first and see if, we'll take a look and see if they're stopped up. I'm gonna turn the camera off, and when I get those off, I'll turn it back on. Well, I've pulled those fittings that go into that fuel water separator housing off, and the outward one is fine. It was nice and clean. The one with where the fuel went from the tank to the fitting had this stuff in it right here. It was clogged with this stuff, so the fuel just couldn't get through. Maybe that's a common problem with these. I don't know what that stuff is, but it ain't no good. Probably what I'll do is I'm going to put this back on, hook the lines back up like they were, and the next step would be to put an inline fuel filter down there to catch that stuff before it goes into the water separator, maybe. Or just recommend if it starts running bad, I'll know what it is. This may be a common problem with the Kubotas. I haven't done a ton of research. I did read something on one of the forums early this morning before I worked on this. I had other stuff to do, then I got to this later in the day, but somebody said something about these fittings being stopped up. So there might be 100 YouTube videos on this, I don't know. I'm going to post the 101 video, so we'll see. I may look later this evening. I didn't do any of that. I just kind of started digging in. Is it sucking air? Is it got a clogged sock down in the tank? Is it, you know, what's going on with this crazy thing? But that's what I found. So I'm going to put this back together, hook it up, go run it, and if it runs good, I'm going to call it a day. If you stuck with me to the end, thank you very much. I hope you got some value from this if you have that kind of problem with the Kubota. I will post the code in the description of the video and in the title of the video. Primal Handyman, over and out.